Hey everybody, this is Talkative Carl back again for another discussion video, and it's something I wanted to talk about. Uh, it's something that came out this past weekend. It's something that been top of mind because, well, uh, after the announcement of the new upcoming Pokemon game, I forgot what the freaking thing is called. They announced it. Legends ZA that's coming out next year. Definitely want to check it out. And many of you who've been following me along uh uh since I started my YouTube channel, which by the way, before I continue on, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, all this stuff. Let me know what you guys think of Pokemon in general. All the good, the bad, the ugly, all the other stuff that, you know, free space to give your overall thoughts on the subject. But I've been a fan. Pokemon is like and Yu-Gi-Oh's tied in terms of two of my favorite animes of all time. I mean, I have other favorites, but these two just hit me at the right age in like the late 90s. Because Yu-Gi-Oh came out maybe like a year or two later after Pokemon did in the US. And of course, it hit Pokemon more specifically hit the world by storm. And I just want to talk about like all the stuff that like I loved about, because it's been around for so long. You can have a full-blown discussion about all the stuff that came, all the good stuff that came with Pokemon, and there is a fair amount of criticism on the Pokemon that I always had a gripe about, and I just thought I can freely express that here for a little bit. Now, of course, some of you may not know, the creator of Pokemon is Satoshi Tahari or Tajari. I like to think it's Tahari, who created Pokemon or Pocket Monsters, and it was first released in Japan in February 27, 1996. And of course, they had the manga, because he was like he liked catching bugs essentially, and that kind of inspired him to like create this world where you get to catch Pokemon. And of course, we all play Pokemon. We know how the game mechanics work and the world works. And of course, we all seen the anime. And of course, we'll get into that in a minute. But it blew up in a big deal. This guy is one guy with his one hobby, created an entire industry. Like, you know, he will not want for nothing for the rest of his life, nor his family for the rest of their life. Pikachu is essentially the mascot of the entire franchise, as equally as how Batman and Superman is the icon for DC, Spider-Man is like the number one icon for Marvel, and like Mickey Mouse is the icon of Disney. It's just like you show that image of them anywhere on this planet, people will know where that's from. I mean, people don't need to know too much about DC, but they know who the frick Superman is. They see that symbol, that S symbol, they know intuitively or just by osmosis who that is. Same way somebody see like Mickey Mouse, they know who that is and what that character represents. Mickey Mouse, I mean, Pikachu has gone to be that upper echelon of that icon. And of course, he's definitely one of my favorite Pokemon. And once the card game came out, oh, like I definitely wanted that card game. And like you've been on the playground in middle school, people trading cards, and like have to learn a hard lesson about trading cards, because like you don't know, as a kid, you don't know what was valuable. I mean, the holographic ones was valuable, but at the time you only got like the holographic ones and not holographic ones. Of course, now you got like ghost rare or diamond and all this other new stuff to make it super rare. I still got a fair amount of Pokemon cards is stuck like in a bunch of buried in a bunch of stuff that's in protective casings and everything like that, but I didn't want to dig them out. But uh I collect when I can. It's like most people don't have like the extra spending money to just go out and just collect cards like that. My birthday's coming up. I figure maybe get the extra spending money to like actually get out some new, buy at least a few new Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh cards. And because it's been a minute, but it's like you don't have that extra spending cash to just frivolously buy cards like that. Of course, it was fun as a kid because like you're not buying it yourself, your parents were. Remember speaking this with a couple of friends of mine in Vegas a few years back, mentioned to them, I was like, man, back in the day, it's like, it was fun, getting cards because you wasn't the one buying them, your parents were. It was like, it was no muss, no fuss. But now, like, you're doing this, you gotta be a little more mindful when you decide to buy them if you have extra spending cash to do it. But it's fun. It's like it's because I'm pretty sure people still, like, I'm not sure how many people still buy baseball cards or basketball cards. It's not the same thing as something like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh cards because you can actually do something with them besides trade them or collect them. You can actually battle them. When the game came out, because I never read the manga, like over the years I began reading the manga here and there online, but after the anime came out, because that's a lot of people's introduction to Pokemon with Ash Ketchum, Brock, Misty. Who personally I think Misty and Ash should be the only people that they should be a couple. I don't care about Dawn and Iris and all those other friends that Ash met along the way. They're all fine, but ultimately we all wanted Ash and Misty to be together because she's the only one that kind of like because they're because low key you don't pick this up that as much as a kid, but they're like comebacks at each other was so freaking hilarious. Like they're pretty much a married couple. Let's be honest, these two should be together. But yeah, I'm good going over the place. But the anime, it's like it was so much fun. At some point I wanted to like get, because Ash's story is pretty much over now. He finally won the Pokemon League. He didn't go 6th place or 8th place or anything like that. He actually won the Pokemon League in like the Hawaiian location. I think Sun and Moon is where the area was, the Alolan region. Like, part of me feel like it doesn't really count because like you don't really technically have, because I played the game Sun and Moon and like this Alola region, and it's like y'all don't really technically have gyms. Y'all just building yourselves gyms in a league in this particular region. So you're in the early phases, so I only don't you can even count that. But whatever. The anime I guess is a little different. I guess maybe I don't know. They do a weird different things that doesn't really from over the years constituted as like a proper gym and proper, well, I think it's more of a proper league, but proper gyms or whatever like that. But Ash finally got to win a league after 20 years, but now they'll be eventually moving on to a whole new character. I don't even know if they actually brought in the dub version of that last round of, I'm pretty sure they did with Ash and how to end it. I haven't seen it, but at some point I want to do like a review of all of the Pokemon from like start to finish, or at least enough, because it's a lot. Probably one of the longest running animes of all time, and it's just like I'm probably gotta do a very a group of it of the seasons very sparingly, because uh it's not like the way I did with, I finished up all the Yu-Gi-Oh franchise seasons of different generations, which is up on my channel, by the way, if you want to check out my thoughts on Frames, Zexal, Duel Monsters, 5Ds, etc. But Pokemon's a little different. It's been carried on for far much longer and far much longer episodes, and of course there's some filler that I probably will be skipping over just to get to the kind of like the point. There's a few filler stuff here and there that I like, but all in all, I really never was a fan of filler episodes and anime in general. But I digress. But then, like, the card games came out. I still remember as a kid, this, I forgot his doggone name, but this little twerp of a D-bag. I traded him 2 cards to get a holographic Gyarados that he had. And of course, our science teacher saw us trading cards. Of course, we're allowed to have these kind of things in the school. So he confiscated our stuff for the day. So I had to wait until the next day to go to school, get my stuff. Of course, he gave me back the thing, but unfortunately, the holographic Gyarados wasn't in the the rest of my cards. So to this day, you know, every time I think about like somebody with a holographic Gyarados, it just triggers something, you know, in my memory about like, oh my god, this kid, you know, I know some people might say let it go, but there's certain things as a kid that still bug you to this day because it was so unresolved and it was such a kind of like a mini injustice upon you that it's kind of like, well, if you're a Pokemon fan and you traded cards before, you probably know the feeling of being scanned or somebody taking your stuff. It bothers you even after probably all these years. I mean, you might have let it go, but it's still like you can still freely admit like that was effed up. So I even double checked with my science teacher, and he showed me the drawer that he put our cards in. So it was nothing was there. And of course, the other kid got his stuff back before I did. I guess he lived closer to the school, so he got there before me. So he got his stuff. So he is the only, by process of elimination, he was the only person that knew about that and stuff. The teacher definitely wouldn't have taken it. So he got, you know, not only the cards that I traded it for, but he still managed to keep the Gyarados. It's like no honor at all. So, but you can tell like how of a big deal it was. Everybody wanted that, you know, stuff. It swept the nation. So when, you know, Red and Blue came out, the Pokemon games Red and Blue came out, that's when Game Boy, because we always had the Game Boy, but some people play like other stuff on there, but it wasn't until arguably Pokemon Red and Blue, when that came out, I think eventually Pokemon Color came out, it like really drove up sales in terms of Nintendo and just the Nintendo handhelds. And of course, you got like those cable cores where you can trade Pokemon with other people. The creator really encouraged people to go out there, make friends, trade from communities and stuff like that. That was the whole purpose of this entire game, that he wanted like build a community with this entire game. This is how like Pokemon Go really swept the nation, when you got an app where you can actually go outside. And like when that came out, people everywhere was all over the place. You knew exactly what people were doing when they're all outside during the spring and summertime. There's even like Pokemon Go events, you know, in certain places where you can actually go like during like downtown Chicago, like around like the Bean area. Is where we usually had like the Pokemon Go Fest, where people go down there and try to do these raids and collect Pokemon, and you build friendships and get to know people. It was a huge deal. I'm not sure if they even do that stuff anymore, because Pokemon Go is kind of like, you know, really died down in over the years since they came out, but it swept it. You know, every time something new with Pokemon comes out, it becomes like a huge deal almost every time, and it will eventually die down, but it typically takes a while because that hype lasts a while. Uh, so I was all over it. I still have the app, the Pokemon Go app. I don't really play it like that anymore, and I can't necessarily bring myself to get rid of the app because I build up so much on that thing. I just can't really let it go like that. Of course, I play the card game and all the game work. It, like I said, it swept the freaking nation. Um, uh, of course, I play. You know, I didn't play every Pokemon game, but I did play. You know, of course, some people managed who have money like that bought both red and blue and the cable cord, so that way they can. Because when you play the the games, you get to pick only one starter Pokemon, and some people manage to I don't know, they just can just have the money to buy both versions, so that way you can trade with yourself, so that way you can start off with all three starters, which is kind of smart. I never done that before, never really felt the need to, but I respect those who did, because that seems like a waste of money just to be able to do that. Or if you might have somebody generous enough to trade you, who has the game too and decides to like restart the game every time and choose different starters and trade with you, so that way you can have all three starters to work with. That would have been cool. Don't know that many people who are that generous like that, but that was a thing. Of course, I didn't play every Pokemon game that ever came out. I did play enough of them. But of course, I played Blue. I played Silver. They have yeah, I played Sapphire, because my little brother, he like always chose opposite because he liked red. He chose gold. He chose ruby because he liked red. But he eventually kind of fell off of Pokemon after that point. Uh, uh, I played Emerald, but I fell off after like Diamond and Pearl for a while. Eventually, I get back on during X and Y, but then decided to go back and play. Uh, chose Pokemon Black after a while when I got money and started working and was able to afford playing Pokemon games again. Then eventually, Sun and Moon came out. Chose Moon, and that's when it's like certain things in Pokemon. It's like I'm starting to like notice that it didn't sit right with me. I get in that in a minute. But then I played Let's Go Pikachu when that when then they started to go more so with the home console stuff, because the handheld stuff starts to started to fall off. Not many people was carrying around handheld stuff anymore. Because the Game Boy evolved in from Game Boy Color to the DS and things like that. And then I played Sword and Shield. Well, I chose Sword. Then I played Brilliant Diamond, because I kind of didn't play the Diamond and Pearl era when that came out, and then I played Legends Arceus, and then I really kind of like was bothered by certain game mechanics, because Arceus was just going back in time. You playing like the past Pokemon mechanics before, like they like how old school Pokeballs when it started, when it's kind of steampunk Pokeballs and things like that, and it's like, and you actually trying to handwrite Pokemon data for your early stages of Pokedex entries, things, but more handwritten. The whole thing, I never cared. I played it, I streamed it on the channel, and I think I finished it, but I really did not care for it as a Pokemon game. Uh, I get what they was driving it, of why they, it's like, oh, let's see what the days was like in early Pokemon before modern times, but it wasn't Pokemon to me in a way. It seems like, something like Let's Go Pikachu, some kind of offshoot Pokemon stuff that normally people wouldn't have been bothered playing it. I never played Detective Pikachu either. Speaking of which, love the freaking movie. At some point, I want to do the review of Detective Pikachu because that was an amazing film. In terms of video game, uh, based off a movie based off a video game, in my personal opinion, that was one of the successful ones out there. But of course, some people like me was worried if PETA was going to be up in arms about Pokemon battles, because even though they're not real animals, they're based off of real animals, and it was be like, because PETA be up in arms about the wrongest things 90% of the time. But eventually, when they make another Pokemon movie, in my personal opinion, damn what PETA says, just do your thing. They can boycott all day long. It's gonna be a success, in my personal opinion. And then eventually, Scarlet and Violet came out. Did not play that. That was buggy as hell. It's like, and that's when some people pointed out, and I agree, it seems like they was just, I'm not sure who was like the people behind Scarlet and Violet, but it seemed like they was begging on the fact that, oh, it's a Pokemon game, they're just gonna buy it regardless, so why put in the effort and making sure it's like polished as possible? It was not. I've seen clips of people's review, clips of the gameplay, but also people's reviews of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and how buggy it is, choppy it is. It's just like, it seems like seems rushed. And because usually there's like a gap in time between each Pokemon game, so that way they have enough time to work on these kind of things. Because I got the like timelines here. Because typically there is like a couple of years gap between each game. Because Red and Blue came out in '96, then Yellow came out in '98, but that's just like the same thing. But this time you get to pick Pikachu, and Yellow's one of my favorites because it's the only game you actually get to not only have Pikachu, but you also get to have the other starters as well that you acquire later through other people. So you get to play almost like Ash Ketchum in a way. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee was the same thing. Which, by the way, I thought, okay, after Let's Go Pikachu, I was like, okay, so now we get like kind of like remakes of the past Pokemon games on their current console version with updated graphics, which is one of the few times remakes would have been something I've been looking forward to, because Gold and Silver is my favorite Pokemon. I love the Johto regions, one of my favorite regions, and it's like, God, that would have been such a smart play, because it's been years since we played like the original stuff, but now we got the Nintendo Switch and everything like that. We can actually play console versions with updated graphics of past Pokemon games that we can actually get into. I think they did that with Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. That's like, okay, let's get Gold and Silver as a remake, because I love Gold and Silver. The Johto region, it was like a big deal when they did the night and day cycle. It was a big deal at the time. It blew our minds. It was little kids in the 90s. It blew our minds. We actually got the day and night cycle. You actually you set the timer in the game of what the current time is of where you are. You actually see like you go from morning, afternoon, evening, and night. And certain Pokemon only come out at night, and certain Pokemon only come out during the day. You get to evolve certain Pokemon during the nighttime with a certain item or evolution stone, and same thing for daytime. Like Sunflora, you only get Sunflora when you evolve a particular grass type using a sunstone during the daytime. So that's how it worked. It was like a big deal. Blew my freaking mind. and we get to have that again, that's something I've been dying for years. They never did it. You would think after the success of Let's Go Pikachu, okay, it's essentially Pokemon Yellow all over again. Let's bring in like the Gold and Silver region and then work our way up again, because essentially Resident Evil was doing essentially the same thing, bringing back older stuff with current graphics. Anyway, so there's a gap in time, like between Gold and Silver, when Ruby and Sapphire came out. It's been like 2 or 3 years. And of course, they got like Leaf Green, Fire Red, and Crystal. I lump them in with the same thing, so I don't really count that really. But when it's actually a new region, from Ruby and Sapphire, Diamond and Pearl came out 4 years later. And then like Black and White came out from 2006 up to 2010. Black and White came out, so 4 years again. And of course, there's like updates with like the handheld gaming system to go along with it, of course. But then between Black and White to X and Y, 3 years. So you get my point. There was enough time to work on these new Pokemon games. Like I said, there's been like, you know, the in-between ones like Crystal, you know, Platinum, things like that. Those, I still count them as like the same region. It's just like, oh, new Pokemon Ultimate, but with certain different things into the mix, but pretty much the same thing. So I don't really count that, because I'm pretty sure they was always working on that at the same time as the, like, they was already working on Platinum while they were working on Diamond and Pearl. So, you know, I don't really count that. But with like Scarlet and Violet, it was like, you know, I think it, after Let's Go, well, the Let's Go Pikachu was slightly different. I'm thinking they was working on Sword and Shield in tandem. But for all intents and purposes, Let's Go Pikachu came out 2018, then Sword and Shield came out in 2019. But I think that's when they started solidifying, putting things on a console. But after 2019, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl came out 2 years later. And after that, Arceus came out a year later. Then Scarlet and Violet came out in that same year. So it was working, you can say they was working in parallel with each other, but it probably was spread thin as it is. That was one of my biggest issues. Like, y'all are spread thin because y'all working on 3 things at once, arguably, before they can come out in a year following. Who knows when they was actually working on it. It could have been like working on maybe 2 years ago, but it was trying to roll it out all at the same time. It was too much. You should have gave like it space for like because like, you know, if you give Arceus its time to come out in 2023, I think it would have done a little bit better, because things would have been a little bit more polished, because you have time to have your team work on it, so that way it is good from beginning to end. And it's like you gotten so big where now it's just like you're just more concerned about like just rolling out and just counting on the goodwill of the fans. This is guaranteed like your quick, fast money. And it's like, it's gonna backfire on you on the back end of things, because nobody's gonna trust the next Pokemon game if you bringing out half-ass stuff. It's not even just them, it's like other games that's acting like this too. But I'm talking about Pokemon right now. And the next Pokemon game is coming out till 2025, so I think they learned their lesson fairly quickly. So now they're giving us like kind of breathing room so that they can pull their, you know, blood, sweat, and tears into this game. So I'm pretty sure when next year when ZA comes out, it'll be uh uh it'll be a complete game, and it might do pretty well too from the gameplay footage, not gameplay, but just the trailer footage that I've seen. It seems pretty solid. I'm pretty sure, uh, if not the summer, definitely by fall, we might see some gameplay trailers of the new Pokemon game and see how it works and everything like that. My other issue with Pokemon, which I think it started around in Black and White X and Y era, where certain Pokemon characters, and people make jokes, and it's been like people making jokes about Pokemon, and like I think South Park especially, but they made a joke about like, oh, it's just, it's putting faces on things and call it a Pokemon. And I didn't notice that until the Pokemon Clink Clank came out, which is pretty much like a gear looking Pokemon, and Chandelure. And I'm thinking to myself, and then that garbage Pokemon, Garberter, I think the Pokemon game is pretty much like a big trash bag with a face on it. Let's be honest, a poison type. And it's like, okay, y'all pretty much running out of ideas now. And I'm starting to think like, I think you guys should like, part of me, some part of me feels like, okay, you guys gotta end, probably should end the franchise maybe as a whole. I doubt they will do that because it's, you can still tell a lot of stuff with Pokemon, but it's just that when you create a new Pokemon, it was so creative because not only you taking like real world animals and turning it into like a Pokemon like, creature, but you're also taking like mythical creatures from different regions and from historical aspects and making them into like Aerodactyl. It's pretty much like a pterodactyl, and you're taking a fossil Pokemon. It's very creative. But then you're taking like something like a pair of keys, clink, I forgot what the freaking Pokemon called. You got like a little ring of keys and put a face on it. And when I saw that, I was like, oh my god, you guys are fucking lazy. How lazy is that? There is no reason behind. In the past, Pokemon creation seems like there's like a mythical mythical aspect about them, or there's like a specific reason behind the creation. Because if you do a different region, there's like like real world animals. Not every animal has, like a Bengal tiger is of a particular region in the world that isn't known for any other place in the world that doesn't cater to that particular species of animal. That's how Pokemon is from where I grew up, where it's like each region has their own particular unique Pokemon, their own unique evolution, like shinies or different ways of their evolving depending on the region or how their diet is, or the way like night and day cycle and how they affect them. Like EV evolution is so unique because it's so the DNA is so in flux in a way where it's like different evolution stones can affect it in a wide variety of things. And when you got something like a pair of keys, there's no unique explanation for that. You're just throwing a face on a pair of keys, and like that's the ugly part in my opinion of Pokemon. The bad part in my opinion is just how rapidly they putting out games where without any forethought or space to give it breathing room to actually take the time to work on it before you roll it out. The ugly part is, in my opinion, is just the face on just random stuff and calling a Pokemon as lazy. You might get I give it a slight pass with Chandelure because the unique design aspect of it, and there's a slight reason behind it, but I cannot give Garberter or that key Pokemon any grace at all. That, in my opinion, are just lazy. That is lazy. And it's like, because I feel like it's probably ideas. They ran through the Pokemon been going on so long that you probably ran through all the animals in a known world, ran through all the old prehistoric animals that you can get inspiration from. You already ran through, like, Deoxys with space type Pokemon. You kind of run through that idea. So it's like you pretty much ran out of ideas. You burn through it. Like even mythical creatures you try to make into a Pokemon, you kind of burn through that realm. So it's like, I don't know. You start making building type Pokemon. It's like, what? I can't go with that. And it's like, either you stop with making new Pokemon, which you're not, or just, I don't know, take the time to actually hone through some ideas and not just look around the room as like, blinds, put a face on it, blindy, the blindy Pokemon. I was like, it's lazy. I do not like that. But yeah, I mean, I am looking for the new Pokemon game. I'm glad they actually taking the time, so hopefully it'll be great. Some point I want to get some new cards. But I need is like starting to, because I was starting to like a year or two, like at least definitely a couple of years ago by this point, I started to buy like binders and those plastic card covers, so I can actually organize my cards into like a proper setup, rather than having like stuck in those tins or boxes, just to give them some kind of protection. I want to have it organized properly. But yeah, what else can I talk about? Because Pokemon's been like such a big deal in my life. Don't know when they'll come out with that new, because it's gonna be like a new character in a Pokemon anime, this female, because has been in this game for such a long time. Now it's like this new chick. I think this is like a brown skinned girl. So clearly they definitely going like a new direction with like a, and who knows who's going to be the new starter, her partner for the next foreseeable future, because Pikachu's been like the mainstay, the always the constant in this franchise for such a long time. She just can't have a Pikachu. She got to have something special, unique, Pokemon unique for her. She can't have a Pikachu, in my opinion. You got to have like her own kind of Pokemon, but it's hard to step in those Pikachu's shoes because he's always been the face. He can always still be the face, but this new character gonna have her own unique partner. She has to. I don't care who it is. But I guess in my opinion, it has to be a Pokemon that, well, if I say it has to be a Pokemon that can't evolve, because Pikachu refused to evolve. Because into a Raichu, it had to be the Pikachu, which the episode was very powerful, where Pikachu refused to evolve into a Raichu during that more pivotal episode with Ash, which is always still the banger of an episode, where Ash goes to the third gym to get his Thunder Badge, but from Brock and Misty, they actually had to hand him his badges because either he saved them or he did something unique that earned him the badge. But he never actually put in the effort to actually battle to earn the badge. And that was such like we wasn't really thinking about it, but we kind of was, where it's like, dang, they just give him badges, and again, we actually have to battle these Pokemon, which again, to the different types and everything like that in a second. But it was such a big deal that Ash went to because he only had like a few Pokemon at the time, like Pidgeotto and Pikachu, and I think he had maybe one other Pokemon at the time. He only had like, I think, 3 Pokemon at that time. So none of which but Pikachu would have stand a chance against Lieutenant Surge's Raichu. And Raichu was a powerful Pokemon. It was because the evolution line, makes sense for them to be powerful than their previous evolution. But Pikachu actually, because since Pikachu in its particular evolution form was faster than the Raichu, but Raichu was the powerful one. But Pikachu had the speed on it and used it to his advantage to beat Raichu, and on his own merits, not evolve into a Raichu to hopefully stand a chance. It was just a big deal. Like I and of course you got a Meowth and Team Rocket. Those guys are as much as a crazy annoying they are, just popping in trying to steal Pikachu. It was a whole thing. They were fun villains, and like it's gonna be kind of like weird to not have Jessica James anymore with his new character and her own little group of enemies that she'll have to deal with. But Meowth, who can talk, can translate Pokemon language, and it's like, I want you to, I want to be accepted as I am, not as like a new Pokemon, and I like being a Pikachu, all the other stuff. And everybody applauded Ash when he finally earned a badge on his own merit. And it was like, I applauded right along with everybody. It's like, congratulations, Ash. That is a big deal. Because like, it's such a, because that's why I don't believe in that participation trophy bullshit, because it means so much to you if you earn like the trophy. You own it on your own merits. You put in the work, and it's such like a big deal. And it means so much when people give you like if you're like wanting like getting like a high school diploma. It doesn't mean much if you was handed one. But the fact that you went to school, you studied, you earning your grades and everything like that, and to get to this point after 4 years, earning your cap and getting a cap and gown and earning your diploma, it means that much. It's like a big deal of a ceremony. That's how you attribute something like, or even something like a medal in like a sports thing. Like you bust your butt training your whole life in this particular sport, so when you win that trophy or you win the football ring or whatever, it means a big deal because you worked your ass off to it. And that's how it was at this pivotal time with Ash winning his first badge on his own without it being given to him, or even in the tail end when he first finally won a Pokemon League, because he busted his butt so many years, getting closer and closer and closer until he finally get to this point where he actually grinded his butt to get to this point. It was a huge deal. I want to get into like the Pokemon types. Over the time, there's particular types, Pokemon types over the years. Like normal, fire, water, grass, electric, ice, fighting, poison, ground, flying, psychic, bug, rock, ghost, dragon. Eventually, through the course of subsequent games, Gold and Silver, Gold and Silver, Ruby and Sapphire, eventually new types came about: Dark, Steel, and Fairy. And they were so new, you don't know unless you actually have to look it up how effective all there is, because it's very rock paper scissors type of mechanics when dealing with Pokemon types was very cool. And it's like, of course, like water beats fire, fire beats grass, grass beats water, kind of thing. It took me a long time before I actually figured out, like, oh, dragons just can't be beat. They're like part of the ultimate powerhouses. But then Fairy came along, and now you got like fairy types beating dragons. Don't know how you explain that. I don't know how you square that circle, but there it is. And Steel beats ice, and Steel beats rock, which makes sense. And then of course Steel beats Fairy, because like machines, I guess, I don't know. Uh, but yeah, it's a fun mechanic that you got to learn over time, and or at least if you have some kind of guidebook or whatever to teach you certain things about how the rules of the games are. It's a fun. It was like a fun card game, fun games, fun anime. Oh, and speaking of Jesse and James, how clever it is you name the particular bad guys after uh old west style uh uh bad guy Jesse James, because they're heist and they stealing. So you got Jesse and James, and Jesse, my God, thick as hell. Everybody wanted Jesse, bad girl. Oh my God, that bad girl vibes. But then you got Butch Cassidy, who's pretty much like the rival of Jesse and James. Butch Cassidy. They were fun. You don't see them often, but when they show up, it's so much fun when they kind of butt heads. Of course, Team Rocket, best, in my opinion, the best like gang member group of the region. Of course, over time you got like Team Aqua, Team Magma, then and then you got like crap, I blank on the other groups. The ones with like those, over time the bad guys became less like terrorists or like gangsters and more so like corny villains, like the ones with like those megaphones that just shouts, that dress up like punk rockers. The only good thing about them, they got like the Maddie girl, that's the goth chick. She's fun, but everything else surrounding her is so lame. And they speaking as like with these megaphones, like yeah, or like those punk rocker skull like outfits that the previous people wore in the previous reason, where they like act like gangster rappers. And it's like, oh my God, you're not even trying with these guys anymore. That's like back in the day, it's like they're either gangsters or terrorist groups if you want to make them like an organization. And like now they treating like the region's particular gang members as like corny bad guys or just like punks. And it's like, that's not what I want from like the region bad guys. I want them like, with a purpose, because Team Magma and Team Aqua had like a purpose, where it's like one wanted to increase the landmass, like Lex Luthor in Superman movie, to gain control, and the other one was to flood the world and start over, or something. There's the particular goals these guys have. These bad guys, eventually over time, they just start to become corny and less, have anything with goals in their life. Because I don't know which one had like that character N. I think after him, with that particular region, the bad guys stopped becoming interesting, which is kind of lame. It's like, God, y'all don't try with these guys anymore. You're not trying anymore. Like I said, they kind of riding on the coattails of the goodwill that the several years of Pokemon that's been put in the work, and it's like, oh, they'll just buy it because it's got name recognition. It's like, no, you have, like, recently they caught on, and it's like, no, you can't just give a shit and call it cake. Eventually we're gonna cry out and we're gonna speak with our dollars. It's like, no, this is crap. How dare you give us this crap and expect us to just be cool with it? That's not right. And it's like, hopefully wherever the bad guy is in like the new game next year, well, hopefully it'll be something unique and worthwhile to like, oh my God, this guy's like, this is interesting bad guys. There have been very interesting bad guys since Giovanni, in my personal opinion. And to this day, I still claim that Giovanni is Ash Ketchum's dad, which we still never resolved that in like the English or sub version of the anime. But a lot of people speculate that Giovanni is Ash Ketchum's dad. That's beyond here. Because we never figured out, and it's been like speculation that he originally was from Kanto years ago, went off for his Pokemon journey, never came back. under mysterious circumstances. They never squared that circle, but I suspect, and many people kind of suspect, yeah, that's gotta be Ash Ketchum's dad, and these two never really met. At least I'm pretty sure they did meet at least once or twice before the Kanto region was completely ended. Oh, I also want to talk about like the music. The music in Pokemon is so iconic, and like they don't do that in anime these day and ages. I think Pokemon and to some extent Yu-Gi-Oh is the only ones that actually took the time to put in some unique musical scores to this, because they actually got like some kind of like CDs of the musical music soundtrack of this anime, where it's like, yeah, and of course the classic, each region of the Pokemon had their own classic theme song. You know, I wanna be the very best, like no one ever was. Dun, dun, dun. Like that is still one of the iconic for all time, the best anime song ever. The only other anime song that might come close to touching it is the Sailor Moon song, but can't get any higher than it. It hit, that song hit like no other. It's insane. That you can sing along. Even like the few bars, Pokemon fans will just cannot help themselves but sing along. And of course, each region had their own unique thing, like the Orange Islands. It's like, so you want to be a master of Pokemon? Do you stand the same way? It's and then of course in the Johto region, they had some fun songs, but my favorite one was the Master Quest one, like no time to question my moves. Stick to the path that I choose. Me and my friends gonna do it right. You never see us run away from a fight. God, that song was my personal anthem when I wanted to achieve a dream or a goal. That was like my anthem for that kind of stuff, man. The music, and then the polka raps. Oh God, best friend, or on my way to Ferenian City, like I'm on the road to Ferenian City. God, that is like incredible songs, man. You if you grow up in the 90s, you know, and you've seen Pokemon, you know about the polka raps. And then of course the fun little thing that only Pokemon is able to do, where it's like, who's that Pokemon? And you try to guess. Let's make the part of it puts, like adds the fun to it when you try to know how you learn about the Pokemon. And it's like, who's that Pokemon? You try to guess from the shadow. It's like this whole commercial break situation. And then you try to guess and you learn like, oh, it's Gengar. And it's like, it's so much fun trying to mimic the voice of these Pokemon. And like, Pikachu. And it was like Squirtle. It was so much fun. It just adds to because like, as much as I love Digimon, it didn't give the same feeling as Pokemon did. It was a powerhouse of an anime, but it doesn't offer the same boom as Pokemon did. I'm not sure if it's because Pokemon came out a little bit before it, but Digimon, unfortunately, was in the shadow of Pokemon, which is a shame because Digimon is fun too. It has this great stories, and hopefully I want to, eventually I will do also a review of the Digimon shows, because I kind of fell off after Frontier, because I didn't really care for the stuff that came after it. But Digimon was in hella fun. The Digidestin, also great theme song too, but it didn't have the same cultural impact as Pokemon has. There was no Digimon Go. There's no capturing Digimon. You get the one Digimon, which is pretty much like Tamagotchis in a way. If you remember Tamagotchis, I'm showing my age here, but I'm saying like Digimon was fun too. Everybody got their favorite Digimon, and of course, you get different scales of evolution, because you got Digi-evolution where they digivolve, but it doesn't last long, and they eventually revert back to their rookie state. Remember about rookie and champions and stuff like that. God, it's like I just unlocked my own deep-seated subconscious, because like that's deep cut knowledge of Digimon about rookie and champion and mega levels. Uh, 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 I just unlocked that in my brain. I never used that sentence in a long time describing Pokemon until, I mean, describing Digimon until just now. Uh, but anyway, well, Pokemon is a different beast on its own. But man, it's great. And how many of you grew up on this stuff, who begged their parents or grandparents or whomever to buy you Pokemon cards or the new Pokemon game? They call it Pokemon, and it drove you nuts. And it's like, you know what it's called, and you're just doing it just to irk me. It's not Pokemon. You can clearly see how it spells, and you can sound it out. So it's like, Pokemon. I mean, I would have been a little more forgiving if it says Pokemon with a hard E, even though it's supposed to be a soft E, Pokemon. But God, it drove me freaking nuts when adults call it Pokemon. And it's like, you just doing this to irk somebody. God, it's bothersome. But oh, and I want to talk about like the gym leaders and stuff. Everybody has their favorite gym leader, and of course, you got their favorite like Pokemon champions. And of course, you get into the whole deviant art stuff with a lot of these Pokemon female characters like Misty or Cynthia, and because they got like the especially Cynthia, God, she was like stacked, like that MILF attitude. It was like, God, you know, like you just wanted her ass. But you got unique champions, but you also got these cool gym leaders over the years. Faulkner is probably like one of my personal favorite ones. He's like a flying type gym leader, because you rarely see like a flying type gym. He was like the first one in Johto. Of course, I like the Dragon champ Elite Four member Lance, and of course there's the Dragon type gym leader. I'm pretty sure it was in Johto. Ah, crap, what was her name? I like her too. Ah, crap. Pokemon. Pokemon Dragon gym leaders. Okay, like let's go through all the gym leaders and just because that's why we got here. We got Brock, Misty, Lieutenant Surge, Erica, Koga, later Janine, Sabrina, Blaine, Giovanni, Blue. Blue is a rival based off of Gary Oak, which, by the way, this dude was such a dick. And of course, you always got the anime rivals who always like a dick to the main protagonist. But this dude was like he's the grandson of Pokemon Professor Oak, and like this dude was like a complete dick to ass. Just like self-righteous, you know, self-aggrandizing, driving around the car with his little groupie friends, like, Gary, and it's like, and laughing and stuff like that, not acknowledging Ash at all until like Ash beat his ass finally in the Pokemon League, just so he can acknowledge Ash's skill as a trainer. He's not that chirpy little kid. Hey, Ashy boy, fucking dick. Drove me freaking crazy with his, like, you know, with his whole groupie girlfriends. And then Blaine with his whole riddles and stuff like that. God, this dude was wild. But he had awesome fire type Pokemon. And Sabrina. In terms of like Pokemon, they had some freaking creepy stuff. There was like a video I watched a year ago where somebody pointed out like what would happen if Pokemon was real in the real world. People have to register, like, you know, in order to be a Pokemon trainer, you gotta have like a license probably. Just like you got a license to carry a gun or a license to drive. Pokemon are freaking dangerous, and some are very scary. Like, you know, especially the ghost types, like, you know, like Drifloon carries little kids off, never to be seen again. I was going to kill them. Or like Gengar likes to terrorize people in their shadows, stuff like that. They can be freaking terrifying if you lean into the whole scary aspect of it. And some of these, they're animals. They will kill you. Some of them will kill you. It's like trying to raise a baby tiger, and eventually that tiger will grow up and will tiger go on tiger. So it's like, it's crazy. But I do love Koga, Surge, Misty, Brock, and Sabrina. She was creepy. She had this little creepy doll. If you remember that creepy little doll that is like mind control. There's some mystical stuff that happens in Pokemon from time to time, and some creepy stuff like this possessed doll manipulating Sabrina, and Ash had to use a ghost type against this psychic gym leader, which didn't make any freaking sense to me because anime does their own little thing. You really have people that goes against type and somehow beat by sheer willpower, but ghost type do not work against psychic type. But because Haunter, who Ash catch, managed to make Sabrina laugh, reinvigorate her human spirit to break that possession or whatever that happened. But she was literally a psychic person, and her psychic abilities, it's kind of like Black Rose in Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, where her psychic powers in tune with her cards, and it makes like the damage in the card game happen in real life. Somewhat similar to how Sabrina is with her psychic abilities, where it's like not only the battle is real for the Pokemon, it's going to be real for the trainer as well, and she made it like a hard gym to crack. But she was fun though. Then you got like Faulkner, Bugsy, Whitney, Morty, Chuck, Jasmine, Bryce, Claire. That was I love Claire, the Blackthorn City gym leader. She was fun. In the Hoenn League, we got like Roxanne, Brawley, Watson, Flannery. She was fun too. I love Flannery. Norman was fun. I love in the anime, he has such a big presence for like his kids who became best friends with Ash and went on the journey with him. It was like a big deal for the younger brother who looked up to his dad and didn't want his dad to lose to Ash, despite his conflicting feelings with like, it's my dad. He's an incredible person. I don't want you getting this badge, and it's like, it's not right. It was a whole thing he was dealing with because he looked up to his father so much, and it's like, his father had to explain to him that this is how it works. It doesn't make me any less or more than Ash. It's kind of like, it's like a sports game. It's like people lose, even like the greatest players will lose from time to time, and you gotta respect it. Then you got Winota, another flying type gym, Tate and Lisa, Moss Deep City, which in this region, in the games, they really were leaning into the dual battle system, or 2v2 system, more so in this game, that and it became a staple, but it was heavy on this region. Not as much in the later regions, but from time to time you will get those. Then you got Wallace and then Juan eventually for the water gym. Sinnoh Lee, you got Rourke, Gardena, Maylene, Crasher, Wake, Fantina, Byron, Candace, Volkner. Unova region, you got Silent, Chili, Press, who's the first gym leaders, but they play with grass, fire, and water, the trio badge. And they got Lenora, normal type gym, Berg, bug type, Elisa, Clay, Skyla, Bryson, Drayden, Iris, the gym, Dragon Gym. I like Iris, but she got grating to me over the years because she calling Ash like, you're such a little kid. Eventually that kind of like come to a head in a particular episode where I still remember where she and Ash got into an argument, And it's like you call him a little kid, he's around the same age as you. And Ash is like, you know, if I'm such a little kid, why are you still hanging around with me? And it's like, yeah, because she was such an annoying. I don't think many people like Iris that much in terms of a female co-lead to the Pokemon anime. And it's like she was so grating and so annoying, least likable character. And then Unova, you got Serene, Roxy, Berg again. Oh, this is the same people. I'm going over it. Kalos region, you got Viola, Grant, Karina, Ramos, Claymont, Valerie, Olympia, Wolfric. Gala region, you got Milo, Nisa, Kabu, B, Aliaster, Opal, Bede, Gordy, Maloney, Piers, Marnie. That was the girl's name. Marnie, the goth chick. I really like Marnie. And Raihan. And then you got the Paldia League. Katie, Bryces, Aino, Kofu, Larry, Rhyme, Tulip, and Grusha. Now, I'm not really familiar with like this Paldia people. I've seen their images on cards here and there, but not really totally familiar with them. And of course, you got the Orange Island League. You got Sissy, Danny, Rudy, Luna, then Drake. And people talking about like, oh, this is the first time Ash won a league. You forget, but the Orange League, he won a trophy. I guess that doesn't freaking count. But the Orange League was so much fun. But yeah, it was like a big deal. The entire thing was so much fun. Pokemon has been like the best, one of the best animes of all time. With like, it's been around long enough where you can categorize like the many good stuff, but the few issues that you can point out, the few issues along the way that didn't jive well with you, which I hashed out here. But it's something I wanted to talk about for the longest time. But well, if I want to point out the stuff that Pokemon needed, the franchise need to do to change, is the fact that be a little bit more creative when your Pokemon creations are for each region. You know, because there used to be a meaning behind why they was created for, like, for like nature reasons. Same way with real world animals, there's nature reasons why they're in a particular, like pandas in China, why they're unique for that particular region. Put in some research, or like, if it's mythical reasons or orbital cosmic reasons, put in some thought into it, not just look around the room and it's like, oh, like, water bottle and put a face on it. Nobody would think that it's no way in any shape or form is creative at all. And also take your time with creating each new Pokemon game. We will buy it, but give yourself, let's like, you play a Pokemon game, let's sit on it for a couple of years, then of course take your time to work on the next one. Got 2 or 3 years to do so, and then once you're ready to like announce it, it's already polished and ready to like roll out. When the date that you choose to announce it will arrive, it's ready to go, and it's a smooth rollout, and not just half-assed because you got to meet a particular deadline, or it's like, whatever. It is just something like, how it would do to make sure that Pokemon remains at its upper echelon of quality, because right now it's taking a bit of a dip. And then also that Arceus thing, let's not do that again. That was kind of boring, wasn't that much fun. I know you're trying to shake things up a bit with Pokemon, but you have been doing it like the whole, like, for example, the whole day and night cycle, and with like the unique evolutions with the stones and the evolving at a particular point in time in order to do that, or trading to cause a Pokemon to evolve. Those are like good shakeups, but you still haven't lost the core while we come to play this game. And of course, like, you know, eventually, like, you need Pokeballs. Like, they kind of rolled that back a bit, but when the Johto League came out, I mean, the Johto region came out, you got these lure balls, uh, and net balls and all this other stuff, and you actually get these apricots and take it to the smith, kind of like, you know, like a blacksmith kind of thing, and make see how they make these unique Pokeballs. And it actually take time. You don't just bring it to them and boop, here's your new thing. No, it probably takes a day. They put in the make the day and night cycle not just to have it, just to have it. It served a purpose. It takes at least from my memory, it took a day before the blacksmith was ready to be ready to give you your new Pokeball from the apricots you handed him, and they're ready to go to serve a unique purpose, like the heavy ball to catch like someone like Snorlax or Wailord, or lure balls to catch your water Pokemon. It was like a big deal. So those are unique shakeups that is great, but you don't lose track of the core reason why we come to play these games. I think they veer too far off with Arceus, in my opinion. And same thing with Scarlet and Violet, at least somewhat. Um, uh, so yeah, they still stick to the main, and like Sun and Moon, I think they kind of veer off a little bit too. With these, it's basically you're on vacation and these, you know, startup gyms that isn't gyms, and it's like I didn't care for that. It's like personally. Uh oh, also, there was like a uh what was it? Crap. There's a Pokemon, I forgot which Pokemon game, where you get to go back to the previous region after you're done with the main story and go through all those gyms again. I thought like after that they will keep doing that each game, so you can just go back to the previous region that you went to, and that was so much fun. Like that way you can catch a Pokemon of that region and pretty much start from uh, over again, but with other Pokemon. It was such a cool thing, and it's like they never stick to that. I was like, I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's too much. Maybe is a lot of work, possibly. But that's the whole point of having, like, in my opinion, having like the 2-3 years span of working on this game, so you can fill in the time to add that stuff, because that was fun. Or is it like the time where, like, after you're done with the main story, there's a particular island where all these other past gym leaders go to, and you get to battle them in a tournament at the very least, in this massive tournament, and you battle all these previous gym leaders and their high-ranking Pokemon with your high-ranking Pokemon after you battle and went through all the main story. That was like a big deal. That was so much fun. But they don't stick to that. They never stick to that. And I was like, God, that was such a cool idea, and they never stick to it. That always bothered me. Uh, uh, there was like another league where you get medals, not badges. Oh crap. Uh, mm, crap. There was like a thing in like the anime. Ah, uh, there's a one like I thought it was Lugia, but it's probably not. Oh, there's other league I'm blanking on. Um, what was it? Um, uh, I'm sorry. I'm just like it's bugging the hell out of me. Uh, oh, wait a minute. Oh, this. What badges? Uh, Ash Ketchum. Um, Battle Frontier. That was it. Battle Frontier. Uh, the Frontier symbols. Okay, there we go. Because I was like blinking, I was like, God, it was like the Frontier Brains. Uh, it was during the Sinnoh stuff. Uh, yeah, so you got Nolan, Greta, Tucker, Lucy, Spencer, Brandon, and Annabelle. And oh my God, I completely forgot about Brandon because Brandon has lost, you know, uh, you know, can usually lose against somebody, but then come back and then beat them again. Brandon is one of those few rare instances where as lose a couple of times in a row and then have to beat them a third time. It was like crazy. Like, oh my God, you think like, oh, Ash got this now, but no, it beats him again. Ash took like at least 3 tries before he eventually got a medal, or at least got uh, uh, a frontier brain and got a symbol from a badge from him. It was like a big deal. It's like, wow, this dude was so good. He put Ashes through his paces quite a few times. And it was like Nolan in the anime who has like in the anime has like the Articuno. That was the one I was thinking of Lugia, but I got the wrong type uh legendary Pokemon. He had like an Articuno in his uh as a friend. Didn't stay long, but he was taking care of it. But yeah, oh my God, the Frontier Brands, that was like a big deal. That was fun. I really want to I want to like I'm thinking because I'm going to a lot of anime stuff. I want to go to like because the next TV show reviews I want to do is go through all like the Food War stuff. But after that, I was thinking like, okay, let me go through like some Batman content or something. Maybe not TAS. But well, I probably should like TAS, Batman Beyond, and then like Brave and the Bold, uh, or at least the Batman and then Brave and the Bold. In terms of like at least the biggest Batman stuff like I really enjoyed, and talk about those. Just to give like some anime stuff a break. Maybe after that, uh, I can get into some Pokemon because I really want to start talking about my reviews of the Pokemon episodes, or at least the seasons, I should say. It's uh like how many? Let me check and see how many seasons of the Pokemon uh the Kanto region, the Indigo League. Uh, yeah, it is a lot. Like I said, it's okay. First season of Indigo League is no, actually, holy crap! Each season is an entire league. I thought it was like broken up in at least two separate things. Or maybe I'm thinking about Johto. Anyway, so there is 82 episodes in the Indigo League part. Then Orange Islands, 36. Uh, uh, but Johto, I'm pretty sure that Johto is like, yeah, three separate things. Uh, 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 First one's 41. Jolie Champions is 52. Master Quest, my favorite one, 65. Uh, then you get into Pokemon Advance. Uh, that is 40 episodes. Challenge is 52 episodes. So I think that's fairly doable because, from Indigo League to Diamond and Pearl, uh, Sinnoh League victors. Uh, but then again, you got like, uh, uh, all right, well, you got also got like all these leagues. Uh, let's see. I gotta figure this out. Um, um, Wait. Yeah, okay. There's black and white. How many episodes? 48. And they seem longer. They are kind of long, but it's like they seem so long of a season. Seem like, oh my god, it's like it seems like just going on and on and on and on until the he gets to the league. Not as long as we actually think. Um, 49. And next one, black and white, Universe Beyond. Uh, 45 episodes. X and Y. Yeah, I think it's fairly doable, you know, but it's in terms of reviews, but I might have to skip over a couple of filler stuff because not every filler stuff I'm fairly interested in. But I think it's fairly doable. I think after I go through a handful of Batman related TV shows after Food Wars, I think I'll jump to some Pokemon finally because I've been wanting to do so for a hot while. But God, like I just love to just go back into Pokemon. I love that show. But anyway, I think like I'm going on and on as much as I can about the love that I have for Pokemon. There's certain things I have gripes about Pokemon, and yeah, like I said, it's one of my top favorite animes of all time, and I'm so grateful growing up the time that I grew up in and introduced from the jump Pokemon and got into the craze that I did. Uh, that and Yu-Gi-Oh really set the tone for me as far as like my love for anime. Of course, I have love for like Dragon Ball Z, but it's not like my top favorite anime of all time. It's like Naruto is my third favorite anime. Bleach number 4, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure number 5 is like my top favorite animes. Matter of fact, I made a video years ago about my top favorite animes of all time. You can check out that video up on my channel. But went on as much as I can about this, but I'll see you guys next time for more games. But I think tomorrow I'm gonna take a break from streaming any games for tonight, but tomorrow I have a new chaotic lore video to do, but I also have a uh uh movie review to do for tomorrow that is the wrap up of International Women's Month. It'll be Lilo and Stitch, so look forward to that, which is another thing I probably want to talk about, like because it has a TV show as well. I do want to do like a review on the show as well at some point in the future. But I love Lilo and Stitch. It's very fun. But yeah, look forward to that tomorrow. And yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Have a great night. Peace.